Namaskara. Welcome to day two of the our 9 minutes with Navadurga series. Today is the day of the goddess Brahmacharini. And Brahmacharini is someone with great focus, great perseverance, and who really keeps her mind on what she wants to do, what she wants to achieve. So we thought, who better than Savitri Bhai Phule to represent her? So, in order to talk about her, I'm very happy to have Shama with us. Shama has done quite a bit of reading on her, and well, I think I'll just leave it to her to take over and talk about her. Over to you, Shama.
Thanks, Tilotama. A very happy Navratri to all of you. Day two, like what Tilu has already spoken of, is the day of Brahmacharini. And so we thought we'll speak about Savitri Bai Ji today, Savitri Bai Phule. Very interesting aspect about Brahmacharini is yesterday we had Shailaputri. Shailaputri is like the daughter, and then being the daughter, we move to our student life. And Brahmacharini is a representation of the student life. So, two reasons why Savitri Bai appealed to us. One, for the sheer discipline and the focus that she had towards the goal. And two, what an amazing student she has been and what an amazing teacher that she has been. Now, this girl was born in Maharashtra in 1831, precisely 3rd January 1831. During the colonial period, women would get married or women would be married off very soon. So she married to Jyotiba Phule when she was 9-year-old. Imagine, when she was married, she was an illiterate. She knew nothing about reading and writing. Jyotiba Phule believed that every person must know how to read and write. And so he decided that he is going to, teach her how to read and write. Thanks to his constant perseverance, Savitri Bai learned how to read and write. And subsequently, after Jyotiba Phule, there were two other people who educated her, who helped her in the education, both friends of Jyotiba Phule, Sakharam Yashwant Paranjape, and the other one being Keshav Shivram Havalkar. Both of these have contributed towards Savitri Baiji's education as such. Now, what did she do after education? I mean, taking this basic understanding of reading and writing, she went ahead and enrolled herself in the teacher training program. Now, the interesting part about teacher training program, most of them were being run by the missionary schools and the missionary convents. So she enrolled in two teacher training programs. One run by the normal, the government teacher training program, which had all the indigenous aspects of it, and the missionary teacher training program, which came with its own nuances. So she did both teacher training programs. I think one of the names that I read was Cynthia Farr, was one of the missionaries in that teacher training program. Okay. Subsequently, 1848, both Jyotiba Phule and Savitri Phule decided to start a school. They did not have money to construct. People were not allowing them to start a school by themselves because they wanted to start a school for all. In fact, they wanted to start the school for girls specifically. The society, the colonial society, was not interested. Education of the girls, or them being excellent in their work, was never a strange thing for the Indian society in the non-colonial period. But once we had this colonial influx, suddenly these, treating women as secondary just got ingrained into the society, and we were made to forget about how the positioning of women and men was never different in our society, and we forgot about that. Therefore, we had all this, crazy aspects of women need to be emancipated and all of that. It is all due to the influx of certain other thoughts that came into the Indian society. Jyotiba Phule ji had a mentor, and this mentor was again a woman, Saguna Bai. Saguna Bai, Jyotiba Phule, and Savitri Phule together started this school. Like I said, they did not have a place to start. So there was a very close friend, Tatya Sahib Bhide. Now, Tatya Sahib Bhide had a good big house. Tatya Sahib Bhide himself was not very educated. But then he always believed in whatever Jyotiba Phule and Savitri Phule said. So he said, okay, why don't you use my house for, starting your school for the girls? And Jyotiba Phule and Savitri Phule were very particular about having girls, irrespective of which economic class they came from and whatever, the caste system that again crept into the society during the colonial period, the misinterpretation of the caste that happened. So, they said that we are going to have it for everybody. And Tatyaji said, we have no problems. But then strangely, the society had already entered into a colonial mindset, and therefore they were against this. So, in fact, the family itself, Jyotibaji's family was also against this. And Jyotiba Phule's father estranged them and said, you can't stay in the house anymore. You will have to look for your own place to stay. You are, you're sent away from the family. And the society as it is was not in favor of it because we had forgotten, our original thoughts, the indigenous original thoughts. And so when Jyotiba Phule and Savitri Phule would go to the school, on their way, Savitri Phule had stones, mud, cow dung, and everything being slung at her. So she found a very simple idea. She used to carry another set of clothes because she wanted to be presentable amongst the children. So she would go change her clothes and then teach the children. And again, on her way back, she would wear the clothes for, that she would be wearing in the morning so that the soiled ones remain soiled, because even on her way back, people would be throwing mud and stones at her. Now, the interesting part, very interesting part that I read about the pedagogy of this school. By 1851, see, 1858, they started one school. By 1851, they had 3 such schools, and they actually started 18 schools during their lifetime. And she passed away in 1897. And one of them very strangely said that the number of girls who would be enrolled in Phule schools were much higher than the total number of boys that would be enrolled in the government schools. Now, that was a very interesting thing. So I, dug a little deeper into why would that be so. Like I said, this lady decided that she's going to get trained in 2 different teacher programs. So she had this pedagogy where she culminated, or she actually had a very beautiful intertwining of the traditional knowledge. And strangely, what she calls? She says the traditional knowledge of math, science, and humanities with the missionary language. Okay. And then this made a huge difference in the women coming to schools. Of course, there were caste barriers. Of course, when she started, when the Phule family, Jyotibaji and Savitriji together started a school specifically for the Mahars and the monks, they did have some trouble, but then, of course, they were able to convince. The best part, she said about the country, she said, if there are people who are concerned about the happiness and the welfare of the country, then they should definitely pay attention to the condition of the women and impart knowledge to them. This was her founding belief, and I should call that as the foundational belief of the entire gamut of work that she's done. She's done amazing work. I spoke about the pedagogy in her personal life also. They adopted a child. They adopted a child who had become an orphan. No, the child suddenly lost the mother, the father was no more. So both Jyotibaji and the child also, I mean, Yashwant is his name, and the child was brought up, in the belief system of Jyotibaji's, rather the Phule, Savitriji's ideology. And when the country actually met with the bubonic plague during the 1897, they were not somebody who just were sitting and looking into the process, or they were not mere spectators. She had started a plague center, for the care center for all the women and children, and she passed away during that plague on March 10th, 1897. She was also, one of the victims of the plague, when she was carrying a 10-year-old child with plague, and she was bringing the child to the ashram. That is when it is recorded that she also caught plague and she passed away. But later that was done by all the three of them. Now, when I say three of them, it is Jyotibaji, Savitriji, and Yashwant. So when Savitriji says that educate the women, educate the mothers, you are educating the society, this is exactly what she means. Her entire lifetime's work was carried forward by her son Yashwant during the process. She also started, back then, she started a particular home for the women, specifically rape victims. And one of the aspects that really moved me was she used to encourage those rape victims not to abort the. She said, "Don't abort the child. We will take care of the child. We will ensure that you will have a better life. It's okay. Giving birth to the children is just a part of it. It can be taken care of. Do not." And the reason that she did this was not because she was against abortion like the missionaries. The reason that she did this was, she said, giving birth is just a part of your life. Beyond that, there is something, beyond that, there is a whole huge, there is many more ramifications of or angles to a woman's life. So it's okay that you don't abort, we will take care of the children. So she had specific shelter home for the victims, rape victims, and for the children born from those rape victims. This was the kind of far-sightedness that we see in Savitriji. Apart from this, she has written amazing, many, many books, many poems, each one of them encouraging the women to go back to studying, to go back to the days of, those days of glory when a woman was never considered secondary. Apart from the women being considered secondary from the society, somewhere in the mind of the women itself, there was, the thought that had come in that we are secondary to the men. So she was trying to attack this faith among the women, and she's written some amazing poems. One of her collections is called Kavya Phule, all of them in Marathi mostly. So Kavya Phule, and then there is this book called Bahadur Stree that has been written. She has also written an entire book. Bahadur Stree is a story basically about a woman that she imagines, the woman that she imagines to be or to build in the society. That's the idea. And then she also writes about Samanata, that is another book. But one of her most famous poems is where she says, "Go get education." And she calls that for all the women. And she says, "Go get education. Don't sit idle. Go get education." And this is, Savitriji in a nutshell. This is one part of Savitriji that I have read. Again, to give out a disclaimer, we are no authorities on the subject. I'm sure there are various other stories about Savitriji which are not recorded, which would be known in the local, in those lanes of Pune and those lanes of Ahmednagar in Maharashtra, because those are the places of their work. If there are some stories which have been, which are there amongst the folklore, which are considered to be folklore, please do share it with us. We would want to have we would want to know the personality apart from what has been written, but also to what has been understood. So with this, thank you. We'll catch up tomorrow with day 3, a new Devi and a new Devi Swarupa. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shama. That was, there were so many thoughts that were going through my head when, especially that part where you said, because, if you remember, I was very skeptical about this whole thing of education for women in the 1800s because I had been reading for a completely different talk. I had been reading about what kind of education was provided by the colonialists, basically the colonial missionaries, when they talked about education for girls. So what was talked about was this: English, embroidery, hygiene. And I don't even want to know what hygiene meant when you're the Europeans who used to have a bath, I don't know, god knows how, of once in a few months. So I don't even want to know what they meant by hygiene. And some cooking or being a good housekeeping, or I'm not sure what. So this was their idea of education for girls. So so at a time like that, I think really it was a savior to have somebody like um, Phuleji, who really recognized that math, science, and social studies is actually more important as education. Um, so so yeah, thank you so much for that, and yeah, we'll see you folks tomorrow.